Hi, everybody. We are back with another episode of D2C Chronicles today. Today, we have with us team Vidya Kanksha. Vidya Kanksha is a non-profit organization run by young B School graduates who had a vision for the rural kids of today. Having impacted the lives of 700 rural kids belonging to remote villages in the country, Team Vidya Kanksha is bringing about a revolution by making use of WhatsApp calls for education purposes. Let's hear more about this story with the three brave hearts we have with us today. That is Vartika, Arushi, and Ashwarya.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so
Aruna.
much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, guys, for being with us today. It is an extraordinary pleasure for us to host people like you who are doing wonders for this country and for the people of our country. Now, before we begin, Vartika, I'm curious to know more about the name. Where did the name Vidya Kanksha originate?
Vidya Kansha loosely translates to a desire to learn. And that is exactly what we've been seeing in many of the kids that we have, interacted with or engaged with in the last 8 months or so. And, it's very impressive and it's very positive also because, you meet these kids, they have been living like a very different lives from us and they face like a lot of challenges on a daily basis which we cannot even imagine, but still they have like that drive within themselves. They are very eager to learn, very inquisitive and curious, so it is very positive, and I think that has been like a biggest driver for us as well, since day one. And that is the primary reason why we started in the first place, because there were children out there who wanted to learn but they were not really getting the opportunities. So I think the name, that is why, just fits perfectly with the cause.
I cannot agree more with you, Vartika. I actually have come across a few kids like this myself who are very curious to know about the things that are happening around us, why they are happening, and they're more willing to learn. I think that is very interesting. And it's, I think, the first step towards building a better place and towards educating these kids for
Yes, and
tomorrow.
it keeps you, very positive as well. When you get to interact with them, it motivates you as well to, do a bit better. So I think that has been like a great motivator and a great driver for us.
Absolutely, absolutely, Vartika. Now, I must say that it is amazing to see young B schoolers doing their bit to bring about an educational revolution, if I can put it like that. How did you and your team stumble upon this idea, by the way?
Basically, I think we started off with the idea of Vidya Kancha back in the month of May. So I was like, I think it started when I was having a discussion with my driver. So I think the pandemic had just begun in the month of May, March, April, right? So I was just having a conversation with my driver who lives in the village of Pakhroni in Bihar. And I mean, I was just asking him how things are going, how are things back in the village, and how is everything at home. So then he told me that all the kids over there, they're at home and they're not being able to study, and it's they're just at home, and every like education had come to a complete standstill. So with that sentiment in my mind, in our minds, we got together and we thought that, okay, let's just start some classes, some online classes over WhatsApp, because WhatsApp was the obvious option because it's easily accessible, it's there on every phone in the country. So I think that's how we started taking classes on WhatsApp. Me, Arushi, Vartika, and a couple of other friends of ours, we started classes for around 10 students in the Pakhroni village of Bihar. And I think from there, once we started taking classes, once we had gone ahead and taken 4 to 5 classes, we realized that there's a fundamental flaw in the quality of education in rural India. It is just, the kids of class 10th, 11th are not familiar with the basic concepts of class 5th and 6th. So that was like a rude awakening. That was like a wake up call for us that, our endeavor and our efforts need to go beyond COVID relief. It needs to be beyond just this period of time when they're not being able to get access to school. And I think that's when we realize that, okay, this is what our vision is, this is what our mission needs to be. And that's when we realize that, we need to go beyond, we need to go the extra mile and address the grassroots problem, which is the poor quality of education, and provide free quality education to students all over the country, because I think that's a basic right which everybody's entitled.
It's amazing to see how you guys, took that first step of bringing about a revolution, because it is all about these small steps that make wonders, that do wonders in the end. And this WhatsApp education system, I absolutely love it. Now, guys, we have come to know that your team alone has impacted the lives of 700 plus rural children by providing them quality education virtually ever since the lockdown has imposed. And that, I must say, is commendable again. How has this number changed in the recent months? And especially now that Vidya Kanksha is a registered NGO, what would you like to comment about that?
That is something which has been made possible only because of I think the volunteers which we have had, the motivation which they have had towards the cause, and like the I think this whole year has been very trying for all of us. We've had our own share of ups and downs, personal issues, and like the world is in the midst of a crisis. And despite all that, some of us decided to go the extra mile and help out those who are not as privileged as us, despite the whole turmoil that we are ourselves going through. So I think we have been very fortunate to get that kind of team, that kind of team across domains. I think building we built so many teams. We have built an operations team, we have built a expansion team, we have built a strategy team. And I think getting those motivated individuals together, that is our fortune. And I think just because we have been able to do that is why we have achieved these numbers in such a short period of time. So I think all I can say is that I'm grateful to have these kind of people. And of course, I think we're grateful to have found each other to, get where we are.
You guys send a very good message across that if you're willing to do something, it's not impossible. You just have to take the first step and everything will come flowing down to you. And it's amazing. Again, I would say that such a young team is doing so much for the kids. And I think these kids are going to build the future of tomorrow. And if we are able to shape them properly, we are going to have a better future for our kids as well. Very rarely we come across such brave hearts, especially like you guys who are doing so much for the kids. But when we talk about the ground reality, there are chapters in our life and in our initiative that we fail to talk about in public, and that the public fails to see. In that regard, what obstacles did you guys face?
The biggest obstacle that we faced was a poor net connectivity and inaccessibility to even the most basic of amenities. So this is one problem that we have grappled with from the very beginning. And since our target audience, our target was to get to the most remotest of villages, it was a big problem for us. So to tackle this, we sort of made sure that a single teacher teaches not more than 2 to 3 kids, so that even in case of internet connectivity issues, it is easier to switch from, say, video call to a normal call, and the class can go on without any obstacles. So this is the approach that we started, sort of used in the beginning. And I won't say that we have overcome this issue. It's still a big issue for us, but it's a work in progress. And we have learned a lot since we started, and we have applied a lot of our learnings as well. So it has made a difference. And I think another thing that I can think of that we sort of initially faced was to get the trust of the parents. So we were just we were just starting, and we were young, and so the problem was that it was the entire concept of free education was very foreign for the parents, because it was they were not very comfortable with us going to them and asking them, very they were not very willing to let their children be in contact with someone who is sitting so far apart, right? So this was a big problem for us initially, but I think with the help of a very efficient field support and a little bit success here and there throughout the journey, we have built a very strong base now, and it has helped us overcome this problem as well. And now it is easier to get the parents overcome this barrier of trust, and to onboard children very easily. So this is something that we have sort of faced throughout these 8 months.
I cannot even imagine the thrill you guys must have faced, from the very first step to this date when you are starting to overcome these little challenges and you're starting to actually, make progress in the work that you had initially thought of.
Right.
Yes, definitely. And I think I still remember, when we were contacting parents initially during the very initial days, they used to confirm and then reconfirm whether, we are actually providing free education or not. So they were, I'm sure you guys also remember Ashar and Vakil,
Yeah.
and,
They
they
were
used to
very
always call us and
skeptical of
ask.
the whole concept. They were like,
Yeah, very
how?
skeptical.
Yeah, why?
Yeah,
Is
they
there
used
some
to
agenda
make sure
behind
whether
this?
we are,
Yeah. Correct.
yeah. So we had to really, get them on board with us in that front.
That is so sweet, and that is so heartwarming when I hear such things about people. And especially when we talk about these people from the rural areas, they're so alien to such facts that people are actually willing to help. They're
Right.
not all mean, and they are not all money minded. There are a few people out there like you
Yeah.
who are to help and who really want to do something for the society. Okay, in this respect, when you guys see that you have grown from a team with 10 volunteers and 5 students from a local place in Bihar to a full grown team that is now in a registered NGO, how do you feel and how has Vidya Kamsha evolved with time?
So I think, like I said, we started small. We started with, like you mentioned, we started with with 5 kids and almost 10 volunteers. And I think the journey from there has been, I think it's been extraordinary. It's been an exponential learning curve for I think all of us, including the volunteers. We have seen so much. So I think initially the approach which we had adopted was that we used to have on-field spokes who would look after all the on-field issues, be it net connectivity, be it data pack pack refilling, recharging, or basic amenities being reached out to them. These were some of the issues which the field spoke would get, and also onboarding the kids and all of that stuff. So that was something which had been delegated to our very efficient, like Arush mentioned, on-field spokes. So that is something which we were doing initially. One game changer to our approach, or I think one major evolution which has happened in the recent times, has been our initiative to partner up with the government. So I mean, recently when we reached out to the state of Telangana, so earlier we started off with Bihar and reached out to some 4 or 5 villages in Bihar, got around 150 to 200 students there, and then went to Uttarakhand, where again we got another 200, 300 students, and again with the help of our on-field sport. So this was our approach for 2 of the states. This is what we did for these 2 states, for Bihar and Uttarakhand. And then when we went to Telangana, we thought that okay, let's try a different approach. Let's see where it takes us, and probably then we can sort of replicate that in other states, and whatever works out for us. So that's what we did in Telangana. We reached out to the government. We thought that okay, let's see what the reaction of the government is. Would they be accepting of the scheme? Would they want to partner up and see where this goes? And fortunately for us, the government was very very supportive. The Telangana government was very supportive of our idea, of our approach, of the way of working, the whole concept as a whole, right? And I think that is something which was after all the struggles and after all the challenges which we faced, that affirmation or that that success along the road was something which was really encouraging for us, which was something which we really needed at that stage. And then when we once established that partnership, so now what we have in place is that we are officially in partnership with 3 government schools in the Mulugu district of Telangana, which is this very remote district in Telangana. And so what we will be doing is we will be providing quality supplementary education to them after school hours. So now what the addition to our previous endeavor or our previous practices is that now this quality education will be provided to the students within the school premises, under the supervision of the teachers, and like in a lot more structured and integrated manner. So I think this aspect, or this enhancement, this customization which we did with the Telangana state, is something which gives a trust factor, or a conviction to the parents as well, that okay, the student is going to school, he's going to reach out to good teachers, he's going to be safe, he's going to be sound, and everything is going to work out because the child is going to school, and the parents rely their ultimate trust in schools. So I think taking the approach of the schools, partnering up with the schools was, I I think, a major evolution for us, a major milestone as well. I think I would like to add that also. And
Yeah.
having been able to do that, and now I think we're at it. We're trying to make it as efficient and as structured and integrated as possible. Our Telangana project, and I think one of the best parts of that is also that the students are a captive audience. Because in schools, attrition is also something which should be arrested. If students are coming to school, then they will stay in school, they will complete all their classes, they will be attentive, and they'll just be at ease. So I think that is something which we were able to achieve with Telangana, and that's something how we've been able to evolve. That's of course in terms of how we operate, but also how we have evolved in another front. I think I would like to add is how we have evolved as a team. I think we started just like the three of us, we started, and we have now onboarded around 250 or 270 volunteers across different functionalities, across different domains. And I think all the teams are doing such a great job. So I think that is something in which we have come such a long way, from just coordinating with each other to now like leading teams of like 50, 50, 60, 60 people, and making it happen, making it all come to life. I think that's something which is pretty incredible, and I think I'm proud of us for that.
We believe for a fact that you guys are going to do wonders in the near future. Do you guys remember any such heart-wrenching moment or very inspiring moment during your entire tenure of this long, or during your time at Vidya Kanksha, that you would like to share with us?
I think I'm glad that you're asking this question. First of all, I think I still cannot forget, the time. So it was a big milestone for us as well. We had we had sent out our first laptop to a village called Bhageshwar in Uttarakhand, and it was a big milestone for us. And we got a call from a female student of ours, and the gratitude in her voice, I mean, we had literal goosebumps. And she told us how she couldn't have even dreamt of using a laptop, and now she would be using one every day. So it is these stories that sort of motivates us every day and keeps us going, even when we are sort of facing any difficulties. And it also makes us feel connected with them, even though they're sitting so far apart from us. We have been able to build that connection with the students, and they're very dear to us. So I think, yeah, these are the stories that sort of keep make us go forward and take a little step every time.
I actually can understand, these small stories, help you move forward every step. And whenever you find yourself stuck in
Definitely.
situations where, you cannot move further, you recall such moments, such instances where these people motivated you to step ahead and do something great.
Yes, I would actually say that these kids have sort of kept us sane during the pandemic. They would send us,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
quick cute
Definitely.
texts. They love to use emoticons, by the way. So they just send us messages with all those different emojis, and that's how they like to communicate. So I mean, it has been like a very positive experience for us because of Vidyakansha and because of these kids.
I know that you guys have been there, and when I'm trying to put it in words, the thrill and excitement when you guys would feel when these kids would message you, and you would actually realize that your efforts are actually bringing bearing fruits. It would have been absolutely amazing. I cannot describe it in words. In retrospect, what could you guys have done differently for Vidya Kanksha that would have painted a different picture altogether, if there is anything at all?
I would take that question. Honestly, I would really not want to change a thing that we did, because whatever journey we have had till now, the ups and downs, the setbacks, the challenges, and everything, it has all been part of a great learning curve for us, and it has prepared us in a way for all that lies ahead of us now, right? So definitely, there's nothing that I would want to change personally. Also, when we started, like it was not like that we had everything figured out at the very beginning. In fact, we had nothing figured out at the beginning, so we took like one problem at a time, one step each day, like they talked about, like we are going step by step, like a step by step process, like a very lean process that we are following. um so I mean, we have been, we have had a pretty interesting journey so far. And thanks to all the volunteers that have sort of been with us and, sort of partnered with us in the last 8 months. Many of them are, B school graduates, by the way, our friends or colleagues or someone. So we have had a pretty interesting journey, and I'm really, really proud of the journey that we have had. And we've grown a lot, I would say, emotionally and in terms of experiences that we've had as well. So it has been a very enriching journey, and I would accept all the setbacks that we have had, and I would not really want to change them as well. So, I mean, it has been, touch wood, it has been a great journey.
I absolutely agree with you, Vartika, on this. It has been a great journey for you guys and your entire team. And I would wish you all the success and all everything that you guys need to make Vidya Kanksha a success. It is amazing to see that you guys are doing so much for the rural kids of our country. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us today for this discussion. It has been amazing, absolutely amazing to know more about you and your such heartwarming team. We wish and hope that Vidya Kanksha reaches a million more lives and it changes and leaves a great impact on the lives of these kids.